Hey everyone, I'm Srini and I help manage the Superset community. I also have Junlin as well here from Preset. You may have seen us in the Slack community and in the GitHub. Today I'm excited to share that we have Nitesh and Chatham here from Veeva Systems. They're going to talk about a cool product and basically data platform that they've built on top of Superset, which is really cool, as long as with some other components too. And so excited to have them. And I hope everyone has a kind of a good show today. The only advice I have is if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A tab at the bottom. Please don't use chat. Q&A will be easier for us to manage, and at the end, we'll kind of field those questions. And yeah, I'll let you take it from here, Nitesh.
Thanks, guys. So let's just start sharing my screen. Let me know you can see the slides. All right, how about that?
Looks good.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so thanks guys for joining today. We are here from Veeva, and we want to show you how we're using Superset to power analytics in our life sciences industry. So for you today, it's me, Nitesh Baranwal. I'm a director of PM at Veeva, specifically for Nitro, which is our data science and analytics platform. I have about more than 12 years of experience in the pharma industry, specifically designing, developing enterprise products and platforms. I've gone through different roles in my career, started as a developer, went on to become an architect, joined professional services for a little bit, and then now in PM. And just outside of work, like to practice martial arts, play tennis, and whenever we can outdoors in Chicago, and ride my Harley. That's my email in case you guys want to contact us directly. Chatham?
Yeah, hi everyone. Chatham Reed here. I've been working at Veeva for about 12 or so years, here back when we were founded back in 2008, 2007. Started off as a consultant implementing Veeva CRM, which is our flagship product for life sciences. We're a vertically focused life sciences software company. So I was implementing CRM all over the world, really. And then I moved into product about 8 years ago. So I've been working in product management for about 8 or so years. Outside of work, I live in the Bay Area, so a lot of water sports, sailing and surfing are two things that I like to do. And of course, there's my email. Please use it. We're going to talk about a little bit about call to action at the end of this. So there it is, if you'd like to get in touch.
Okay. So with that, we'll quickly cover the agenda. It's short. We'll introduce Veeva and Nitro for those of you who might not be aware of what we do. Then we'll talk a lot more about Nitro Explorer, which is our version of the bundled version, packaged version of Superset. And then finally, we'll go through some of the Explorer dashboards that our teams have been creating at Veeva. So that should be cool to look at. Okay, let's get started. So just a quick intro about Veeva itself. We are verticalized analytics verticalized CRM company for life sciences, and we provide cloud software data services, also consulting services for life sciences. We were founded, like Chatham said, we were founded in 2007. We have over 1,100 customers. Growing employee base, so now we have more than 5,000, and we're headquartered in the Bay Area, specifically Pleasanton in California. We are a public benefit corporation, by the way. This is an accreditation that we got earlier this year. Our CEO, Peter Kastner, is really passionate about this. So if you are interested in what that sounds or what that means, you can definitely check out some links by him on LinkedIn. But basically, it means we're trying to be looking out for our employees, our shareholders, community as well. So there's something to look out for. So these are some of our customers. Of course, we have many more than what you see on the slide, but some of the very familiar names on the enterprise side. This is big pharma, obviously. We also work with emerging growth and some of the new biotech firms as well. Just want to point out that even through the pandemic, we've definitely helped companies like Pfizer and Moderna through their vaccine development. So it's definitely, just to highlight the point, it's definitely a very what do you say? It's like an essential industry, I would say, life sciences. So we are pretty proud of the fact that we help all these companies develop and distribute all these drugs. So this is our vision from our CEO. This is, what we tell our customers, tell our users. We want to develop the industry cloud for life sciences. And if you think about pharma, it's usually, two sides to that coin. One is on the development side when companies are researching new molecules and going through the clinical operations phase, running trials, etc. And then on the other side, we have the commercial side, which is when drugs get launched, you talk about safety, you talk about commercialization of products, sales, marketing, etc. And we try to be partners to our customers on both sides. So again, like we said, we're building software data consulting services, the industry cloud, if you will, for this very essential industry. And we work on both sides. Now, specifically for Veeva Nitro, which is the product that we work on, both I and Chatham, this belongs on the more on the commercial side of things. So we have a lot of our data on the left side that you see, a lot of the proprietary data assets that we manage ourselves, which is open data network. So you have all that customer data. We also have products on the CRM side of, obviously, Veeva is known for our CRM product. There's the CLM, approved emails, Engage. Engage is a new product, which is more about reps, working with HCPs and HCOs digitally. So we have all of that, all of those Veeva products which generate a lot of the data. And then we also work with industry data, such as sales from Symphony, CareMedics. We work with claims data, formulary, all of these data sources that we have industry connectors for. So these come in together, packaged in Nitro, and that's where the technology piece comes in. We build all these data pipelines with all these industry connectors. And then on the other side, we also leverage the output from Nitro with our business consulting side. So that's more on the commercial strategy. But just trying to give you a high level picture that Nitro is a very essential piece in our strategic partnership. It's providing the technology, the data pipelines that we use to power all the analytics and data science. So this one, I just want to anchor the audience. This is the three personas that we target in Veeva Nitro. The most important ones are the system administrators, and the idea there is we build all these data pipelines using our industry knowledge. Whether it's for sales or it's for performance measurement of different drugs, or whether it's for marketing kind of use cases or for specialty products. So we build all those data pipelines, and this is really trying to put the system administrators in charge, so they can just execute these pipelines directly using our interface. The second persona that we target is data analysts and scientists. So this is again a little bit on the development side before things get operated on, and this is where the data analysts will build all those end-to-end transformations, if you will, any customization that clients need. And then obviously data scientists come into the picture as well to do a little bit more of forecasting, clustering, things like that. So that's the second persona. And then third persona is the business users. These users are coming in more from a reporting and dashboarding sense. So all the analytics that we process, they are delivered using different technologies for BI, and that's where some of these business users come in and look at what has been some of the insights being delivered from Nitro. And so these are some of the benefits of Veeva Nitro. Like I mentioned, we have the accelerated time to value. We have a lot of these industry connectors and Veeva connectors. Obviously, we plug and play very directly with all the Veeva products. That's obviously a big USP for us. But then even beyond that, we have all these intelligent industry connectors, which help us build these pipelines really quickly. So, if you were doing all of these things from scratch, it would take you a few months to do it. With Veeva Nitro, you can be up and running in just a few weeks. So that's a big value proposition from our perspective. The second one is actionable insights, like I was mentioning. Finally, all of this processing goes into our reporting layer, and there's two kinds of reporting layers that I'll talk about. But just at a high level, there's field reporting and there's HQ reporting. So in the pharma industry, there's still a lot of sales and marketing done through a field or reps, and that's what the field facing reporting is for. Then you also have the HQ side of things. So that's where folks are sitting in the HQ of all these pharma companies, and they're also doing some of this analysis by themselves. So a lot of the strategies being pushed from HQ onto the field. So we have both kinds of reporting. And really, we wanted to be a very flexible open system. So when we built out Veeva Nitro, it is built on the cloud. It's cloud native. It's not something that we took from an on-prem system and then we try to lift and shift. We build it on cloud. So it's built on top of AWS. It uses a lot of the big data stack, Hadoop, Spark, EMR, etc. And that's how we want to keep it very nimble and agile. Like when we see some new tech coming in that can help us with our business objectives, we definitely measure it up, and then if it's going to be a good fit, we try to make it a part of our ecosystem. And Superset is a good example of that, where we were looking for something that can help us with our BI needs, and it came along, and we did some research and seemed like a good fit. So yeah, we're here now, making it a part of our Nitro ecosystem. So this is a little bit of a solution diagram or an architecture diagram for our platform. And you can see I've been talking a little bit about the intelligent sync with our own Veeva products. We have the industry connectors here as well. And you can also build your custom connectors. You can tap into FTP and S3 sources, Amazon S3 sources as well, or any other relational DBs that you might have. So this is all the direct connections that we have. From here, you can also look at all of this data in an operational way. So we have all the common models in the industry, whether it's for customer 360 or whether it's for patient level data, commercial data as well. And then we also have this concept of a time machine, which lets you aggregate and roll up metrics by different cycles that you might be interested in. Like some of our clients look at a quarterly cycle. Some of them do all of these aggregations at a monthly level. So it just depends on the client needs, but we are pretty flexible in that aspect as well. And then from a visualization perspective, this is where I was talking about, like a lot of our business users come in. So for the field reporting, we have Veeva CRM My Insights, and that's it's available on your mobile devices for the field, gets deployed to thousands of users across multiple geographies as well. So it's pretty globally used. This is the HQ reporting that I was talking about, and so far we had been using some of the very traditional BI tools like Tableau, Click. We're also doing a partnership with ThoughtSpot. So this is where I think we're really looking to build sort of our own component as well, because you can see that everything else is pretty much owned by Veeva. So this is where we were looking for a something that we would build. We did like a build versus, or I guess partner versus buy analysis, partner versus build analysis, and we found Superset. So that was pretty exciting for us. We we found a lot of the matches with what Superset had to offer. So basically now the way that we present our stack to our users is, HQ reporting is sort of enabled using Nitro Explorer. And we are really trying to push it hard as an alternate to, very traditional BI tools like Tableau, in some ways MicroStrategy, Click, Power BI, etc. So this is our new stack, and it's really great to see that there's another Veeva product now in this column. Now, I know a lot of you guys would have this big question, like, why did we choose Superset? So, this started a few months ago, and we were looking for, like I said, a BI tool that we would be able to manage ourselves. So it definitely hit our bullseye in that sense. It's also built for integration with cloud technologies. So that really hit our sweet spot as well. We want to make it sort of a seamless experience with some of the other products that we have. So it is available on the web for our users, and it's a very seamless experience to go from some of the other components that we have in Nitro to directly into Explorer. So I think that was a really good fit for us. And the second one that I would say definitely applies to anyone using Superset is, it definitely saved us a lot of money, but more importantly, it gave us a sort of a head start, and just a time to market was much, much smaller than what we would have done if we had just tried to develop something like this ourselves. So I would say it saved us like months of precious dev time, not just weeks. So we were really happy about that. We could find something that we could use directly from day one, and we didn't have to spend a lot of time customizing it in that sense. And in the end, it's about a partnership with the community, and we've been really pleasantly surprised with the activity in the community. We're here to talk about it as well today, and see a lot of active contribution from folks like Junlin, Srini, all the lead devs in Superset. So it's a big thumbs up to the community. And again, thank you for being on this call and being a part of this community. I do want to add that, we do, I would say this is one of the first, or if not the first, one of the first, user facing open source projects that we are using. So we've used a lot of other big data technologies from Apache in the past, but they're more on the back end, right? So it's not exposed directly to our users in that sense. So we can actually switch them up pretty easily, whether it's using Hadoop or Spark for big data processing, or even using Kafka or something like that. But this one, I think we really committed to Superset in the sense that it is now in front of our users. So it's not going to be so easy to just take it out and replace it. And we really want to be a part of this community as well. We did our research. It was one of the top Apache projects for some time, and we definitely see that momentum going forward. Chatham, anything else you wanted to add on this one, or for some of the other content?
Yeah, I'll just add that we are. So if you heard of Nitro Explorer, as Nitesh mentioned, is our kind of that is Superset. So when you hear Nitro Explorer, that's Superset running. That's our right now. It's one of the most important tools of the Nitro ecosystem. One of the most unique things that we do with Nitro is we deploy it in multi-tenant fashion. So we have a multi-tenant architecture across all customers. So we're operating a single code line, a single version of the product across all of our customers. So it's a really true product as a service, or dare I say platform as a service for life sciences. And we do the same thing with Superset. So we've, the fact that, we can use Kubernetes to deploy it and manage instances of this thing out to our customers is incredibly useful, and really, enables this whole project to be managed in a kind of a multi-tenant fashion. Although I know Superset's not multi-tenant itself in its nature, but we are actively managing it in a pseudo multi-tenant fashion out there to our customers. So, from a deployment standpoint and architecture, like, Veeva believes very much in the multi-tenant model, of course, and Superset just fits right in there very nicely. So it's just one of these key architectural points that, when we're evaluating things, that's like checkbox, and let's take a real deep look at this technology. So.
Yeah, and this one, Chatham, I know this is a slide that you had presented. You want to just talk about it?
Sure. So we present to our customers every, we have conferences a couple times a year, and we made a big splash this year with Nitro Explorer. That's when we roll it out. to our customers. And as Nitesh mentioned, a lot of them are coming from these really, as I would say, kind of archaic or hard to manage or stagnant BI tools, such as Tableau, Click BI, or Power BI. And it was a real refresher, a really refreshing experience to introduce like an actual modern cloud-based, cloud-native technology to our customer base. We are cloud native, and we're happy to be able to use something else that's cloud native as well for this, and actually own it end to end and be able to manage its deployment, manage the metadata that goes out. So we have vast plans for deploying prepackaged metadata, which is like one of the key points of the Nitro business model, the Veeva business model in general, is because we want to pre-build all this stuff for customers. They don't have to build it themselves, of course. And Superset, again, makes all of that easy. And when you talk about Nitro, the data platform, and you talk about the tools that have to connect to it, and if you're in enterprise software, you know that anything that's run by these folks, and we're running over here as a software cloud service, product as a service over here, the connectivity, the friction is incredible, and it's very hard. I mean, just the basics of like getting access from tool A, to tool B. And with Explorer, we don't have to worry about that anymore because we actually own end to end. We own all the way to the business user out to, the VP of, North America, right? So they're accessing their analytics and their insight through Explorer. So we own that full chain, like literally from the source data all the way up to the business user. And that's a delightful user experience, like for anyone. They don't have to worry about access. People just get instant access to the data. And if they want to explore it, if they want to just have a view-only mode of dashboards and reporting, it's all just very easy. That's, of course, the headline here. Of course, you guys all know what Superset can do. We have it so that it comes pre-configured to access all the Nitro data. So like there's no administrative work that a user has to go through. It's like if you're coming in as an analyst, you just log in, you can start querying and doing all the really fancy exploratory stuff. Or if you're coming in as a business user, you're just accessing reports in a view-only mode, and you're just getting a very interactive experience there, which is what we're aiming for, especially for those guys, because they're used to PowerPoints. Like if you're to do like executive reporting, like that goes out, like those folks are looking at, unfortunately, like a 200 slide PowerPoint that has a bunch of pictures in it. Now that still exists. That won't probably go away, but there is a tier of user in there that does like to get into a slightly more interactive reporting thing, maybe reporting experience, and we're hitting both of those. So the PowerPoints are still generated from Explorer, but there's an interactivity here. And as Nitesh will mention, I won't steal your thunder, but this whole idea of measuring usage on the reports is, at least in commercial pharma. So we're Nitro specifically focused on the commercial side of life sciences. Like that's a new thing. Like people are not used to getting really nice usage metrics across like their report usage. You can't really do that in PowerPoint, and you can't do that, Tableau kind of, and some of these other tools are a little iffy on how that's done. So
yeah.
So there you go.
Okay. So I just wanted to take a moment and talk about what we did on top of Superset to create our packaged Nitro Explorer. The first thing that we did, as Chatham mentioned, was we enabled direct connectivity to our data warehouse, and that's been the key for Nitro so far, where we are sourcing all the data, connecting to all these different sources, applying transformations based on our industry knowledge, and then making it available for BI usage. And so what we did with Superset is connect directly to our Redshift data warehouses, and now that data is available for our business users, for report creators, to start creating the charts and dashboards automatically. So that was I would say that's the biggest value prop that we did on top of base Superset. We also have this other concept of creating workspaces on top of S3. So think of this as your own sandbox where you might upload some files, local files, and you want to blend that in with your data warehouse, which is obviously more industry grade, enterprise grade. But this workspace also becomes available via Superset or via Explorer. So you can then start blending your local files with your data warehouse assets and then create your reports and dashboards on top of that. So it's really powerful as a concept. Um, the third thing that we did was we did have our own authentication authorization for Nitro users. So we enabled that through Superset as well. And we're still working on some of these aspects, but as a user, if you can log into Nitro, you can now get access to Explorer directly. So that's another way that we enable that kind of user experience for our users. This is what Chatham was referring to, the multiple instances to support different groups. And so this is something that we have tried to introduce from our side, where you can deploy multiple explorers within the same tenant. And if you want to segregate, like let's say by different regions or by different brands or products, you can do that really easily by having multiple explorers within your deployment. So that's something new that we are adding. And the last one, I think Chatham talked or mentioned this one as well. We're trying to build sort of a usage analytics dashboard on top of Explorer. So think about it as Explorer for Explorer. And I'll show you what that means. We've done some basic work around that. So that's another thing that we're working on right now. So all of these things packaged together, this is now a little bit of our managed commercial offering, in the sense that we've taken base Superset and applied all these enhancements, and now we call it Nitro Explorer. Now, as with any new technology or any new product component that we design, there were a few challenges along the way. Some of those were like a little bit more tactical, I would say. So things like timeout issues for SQL file uploads. We worked with the community to get the the right expectations. We increase the timeouts to 20 minutes. And what we're also educating our users is, this is, even though it has a way to upload files, for really big files, the workspace is the way to do it, versus trying to push the limits on Superset itself, right? So just a little bit more about managing expectations. So that's there. If you have small files up to 300 350 MB, you can upload them directly into Superset. Beyond that, use it like the workspace's experience. We did notice that Superset has a lot of the out-of-the-box roles and very fine-grained permissions. So that was something that we were struggling with a little bit in terms of coming up with the appropriate roles for onboarding new users based on persona. So we came up with our own role, one of the roles, and then we also use some of the existing roles like Gamma, Alpha, etc. To onboard roles. But that took a little bit of researching and trying out to come up with the right set of roles to onboard users. The third one is the personalization of dashboards. I think this is something that we are still working on. For the good amount, we haven't had to change the styling on Superset as much. So that's a good side, but people are still looking to customize these or personalize these dashboards a lot more. So we're looking at creating our own style sheets and themes, so you can apply those to dashboards directly, and they'll look a little bit more sort of part of Nitro. So that's something we're working on. And then I think the biggest one that as all of you will try to make this a part of your product or platform is and especially for users coming from a traditional BI sense, is this whole idea of working with SQL with data sets. I think that's a little bit foreign or different from the traditional BI tools, in the sense that you have to at some level know a good amount of SQL to be able to filter your data correctly, to be able to create a data sets in the best possible way. So we've enabled a lot of this through trainings and working sessions. And people always try to compare, Superset with things like Tableau. And it's not really a fair comparison, honestly, because you're working with a lot more data in the Explorer realm, in the Superset realm. And so you have to be a little bit more cognizant of the data volumes, the way you query all these data sets before going to your dashboarding and reporting. So that was a little bit of a learning curve for our users, and we're still working on helping them move along here. So. And like we discussed earlier, so Nitro Explorer is part of our ecosystem here. So a lot of our Nitro customers across multiple segments are starting to use it. We're looking at big pharma to small, medium businesses, also from like very big enterprises to emerging biotech companies, which might not have as many users. So it's a good testament that it's fairly flexible and easy to set up for some of these wide ranges of use cases and user sizes, user groups. Now beyond that, we are also using Explorer within Veeva for a couple of our internal customers, and I'll show you some examples of how it's being used. But the two teams that are using it within Veeva are the business consulting team, specifically the Pulse benchmarking team. And we also have Veeva digital events using it within Veeva. So again, these are some of the other use cases that we had not thought of when we first got Superset in, but it's nice to see that it's also being used internally at Veeva now.
Yeah, I think a lot of internal groups raised their hand when we rolled this out externally. People were like, oh, you guys have full stack here all the way out again to the reporting layer, and feel like we want that. So we all of a sudden got like an influx of internal business or internal data science team, these advanced analytics guys, and our digital events team, which is similar in nature, just organizing pharma events. So yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people are interested in this at Veeva. So
that's yeah. I was just gonna add that's super interesting that people have seen like the external is kind of driving the internal use case. That's yeah, that's cool to hear.
Well, we had a lot of folks at Veeva running several, I wouldn't say a lot, a handful running Superset, individually on their local machines, and then all of a sudden we have this prepackaged like as a service, like really easy to manage cloud. Now it's hosted by us, and they were like, yeah, let's get access to that. Can you source my data here? And that's
Okay, so we went through all the slides. I'll take the next 10 minutes or so to look at a few dashboards that we've configured in Veeva. This should be cool to look at, what different teams have been doing with Superset, or I guess Nitro Explorer Veeva. So this is one of the first internal teams that I was mentioning. This is our business consulting team. And this is sort of a new product that Veeva has launched in terms of, just benchmarking, your digital interactions across the industry. So this is how they have been typically presenting some of these insights. And like Chatham was mentioning, in this case specifically, they would create all these dashboards and reports in Tableau, and then just to take screenshots and send like a 200 slide deck in PowerPoint to the customers. So with Explorer, this is the same dashboard that we've been able to replicate. This was in the course of a workshop, like a 2-day workshop that we did with them, and they were able to actually like convert 30 to 40% of their deliverables within the 2-day workshop. So it was pretty cool to see that they were able to take something existing and then just port it over on Explorer and make it look much better actually. So so we were really happy about that. So that's the first.
Yeah, they're going to move 100. They're like near 100% at the moment of conversion over like a really big Tableau implementation. They're nearly there. I mean, just a little bit left, but this was in 2 days. So that the speed of the conversion was, pretty incredible, actually, to be frank. So that was a clear indicator up front, internally, like internal experience about how nice this tool is going to make our lives.
Cool. I'm curious, what are those workshops like? Like, I'm just curious, like how they're structured, and yeah, if you want to talk a little bit more about that, that could be interesting.
Yeah, so Nitesh actually ran it, but we called it a hackathon. We had a 2-day hackathon, a Superset, or what we called Nitro Explorer hackathon over 2 days, and they brought like their top reports right out of Tableau, like almost like raw, like these Tableau expressions, all this junk that I don't know Tableau that well myself, but I know like there was a lot of very Tableau specific things in it, and they had all of their in business language, right? So these are this is another interesting point. The BC folks are business consultants. They have a few techies there, but they're mostly guys who know the industry, and they're doing industry analytics, so they can explain things in business language, but then converting it, into I don't know, SQL in superset sense, or into dashboard configuration or report configuration, whatever it may be. That was the idea. It was like, let's learn how to do that over a couple of days. And we split up into teams. Everyone tried to, create at least one dashboard with these several reports, which were essentially representing the top set of reports that they would, that they present to customers, our customers. They went through it quite fast. So that's, again, the speed of it was fun.
Yeah, I think that's where we realized that, there's a little bit of mindset shift required from traditional BI tools. Like, they were struggling with creating the right data sets to begin with. They were just jumping on the data quite quickly. So we helped them corner that problem first. And they realize that now they've got a little bit more SQL expertise in their team. So yeah, it's progressed a lot from here, and they have some really beautiful reports coming out. So yeah. The second internal customer I mentioned was digital events. So they are actually coming from a legacy .NET app, by the way. And they're using SSRS in the background to create reports. And this is, again, a good testament to how these kind of legacy users or legacy dev teams are coming on board with Nitro Explorer. So this is just a pivot chart. It has its own use cases for account management, but the big point here is, in the past, if they had to create a new report, they would have to go back to the dev team, which was coding in .NET, SSRS. It would take few weeks or maybe even months to push out a new report. And with Explorer, they're able to do these things much faster. So right now, they're still focused on lifting, shifting what exists today, kind of dry reports, tabular reports. But once they're done, we're going to be training them on a lot more visual charting, dashboarding as well. So our hope is to, make these reports a lot more usable at the end of that. So that's digital events. And these are the two internal groups at Veeva, which are using Explorer. And we're really proud of, our partnership with them internally as well. And they're sort of becoming big supporters for Nitro Explorer as well. So we love that we're able to help these teams internally as well. Now moving on, I think this one is this one is again a little bit more Veeva Nitro specific, so a little bit more internal in that sense. Now this specific dashboard is for our ETL jobs. So we run daily, weekly jobs for our customers on our big data pipeline. And this one was created by one of our service team members. So again, it's more like a mini operation center, if you will. They're able to look at different client instances, different connectors, different jobs, and they're able to get all these metrics really quickly in terms of what the duration is, if there's any errors, things like that. So it's really useful for them on a daily basis to look at something like this. I think this is another version of a similar dashboard. It's it's a little bit more, I would say, well designed than just like bars and whatnot. But it's kind of giving you the same data. It's in fact laying it out by the whole month here. You can see that on the bottom left, and then it's also giving you some of the stats, quick stats about completed, failed jobs, etc. So again, I think the other thing I wanted to point out here was the two that I showed you, this one and this dashboard. They're developed by different teams, but it's so easy to create these dashboards that people are just jumping on it so quickly and just like creating their own versions of sometimes the same thing, because it's just so easy to do that. So it's really powerful. Once you have hands on Explorer, I think people are so curious about how to create the next chart and dashboard for the needs. It's a little bit difficult to sort of contain them. So
also, it looks like that total jobs per day, that's a custom viz, it looks like, or is that a modification of the calendar heat map? the bottom left corner.
Yeah, it's probably something from eCharts, the calendar
Nice.
slight modification. I don't think we've gone to the point where we are like in creating our own charts, but yeah, you will see that there's some of the very interesting charts. I mean, I haven't seen some of these charts myself before, but again, that's the power of Superset, that it's making all these, fancy different chart options available to everyone. So yeah. I think this is a little bit more traditional sales performance dashboard that we will find in any of our pharma customers. So again, this was something that you will see developed in Tableau, MicroStrategy, Power BI, whatever other tool that you can think of. And our teams were able to convert or migrate that from any other tool of choice to Nitro Explorer to make it look very similar. It can do a lot more dynamic stuff, I would say, with the filtering at the top and things like that. So it's a little bit more interactive, looks a lot better than some of the traditional tools. But this one is a little bit more, for our users. So just want to highlight that this is also something that we are doing. The same data, sales data from a distribution centers perspective. So this is where they've used a little bit more creativity. They've used a graph chart, and also it's called the arc map, which is more like a routing map. You might see this on FlightAware or somewhere similar, but they've used this kind of visualization to show the spread or the distribution from centers to different accounts or different hospitals. So I think this is pretty cool to see some of the new charts in here. This one is another sales dashboard, and I put this in here because this is a new data source that we had onboarded in Nitro. It's called CareMedics, specifically focused on specialty sales, specialty pharma sales. And the reason I put this here was, again, this was the data set was onboarded after some development in Nitro, product development Nitro. And once the data was available, again, the teams were able to go in and build this dashboard really quickly. So now what we have on top of our agility in terms of onboarding data sources in our pipeline is this added flexibility or added power for users to create these dashboards very rapidly. And we don't have to wait for BI development teams to build these kind of applications or dashboards when we onboard new data sets. So that's really powerful, again, from our perspective. This is similar, again, very popular dashboard that you would find, especially on the specialty side of affairs for our clients, for our customers. This is more for specialty providers. You can see, we're charting by, by a map, trending over time as well, CVS, Walgreens, etc. So again, very common in the pharma industry, especially on the specialty side, oncology, neuro, etc. This was a creative one that I found within our teams. This is more for medical insights. So someone used the word cloud to show some of the trending topics, and then they also found the top medical insights that are being shared across their channels, and also some of the top inquiries. So the reps are well aware of what to talk about when they're going in and meeting these doctors and accounts. So it's a cool one as well. And then this one is another common dashboard that you would find. This is trying to track your digital engagement over time. So in obviously the last 1.5 years, the reps have not been visiting doctors personally, but they've been using things like Engage or just any other online way to contact or a virtual way to contact them. And this measures that. So it's a good indication of as the engagement went up in the first quarter of 2021. You can see that the sales, basically this is how the activity was drilled down across from different channels. And this is the resultant of that. So as the activity went up, the sales went up as well. So it's a good correlation of how that impacts your prescriptions. Okay, I think that's all the charts that we've created, dashboards that we've created from user-facing perspective. This is something new that we were trying out. So this is a little bit of superset on top of superset. So this one is something new that we've put out there. We built this dashboard to specifically track usage on top of Explorer. And the way that we've done this is by tapping into the internal logs table in Superset. And this is one way to show some of the activity going on, top actions, most active users, and also more importantly, like the most popular dashboard. So people can use this information to develop their analytics roadmap. So this is this is also very powerful that we have try to develop from our own side. And the idea would be that we would deploy this dashboard as like a starter kit within all the instances of Explorer. So as people are developing their dashboards and onboarding users, they can look at this information and make sure that they're people are logging in directly, frequently using the dashboards, and just measure that and that usage, right? So this is also an important one that we've developed. Okay, so I think that was all the dashboards that I want to share. Some of the cool charts that you saw, a lot of different use cases, internal users, our customers, and then a little bit of Explorer on top of Explorer. So yeah, we present a lot of information today, but we're just getting started with Explorer. I think immediate feedback from our users, internal and customers both, has been really positive, encouraging. So you want to continue developing more value with Explorer. Like I said, we do want to develop a lot more package solutions, business applications on top of Explorer. So then we basically own from A to Z of the whole analytics space, right from sourcing the data all the way to creating these dashboards and reports for our business users. And then, I've mentioned this internally as well. We want to be in sync with the latest version of Superset, so that be our commitment from our side to make sure that we are using the latest from what the community has to offer. And, we're trying to contribute back as well. So, we did an enterprise level security scan of our products. There were a lot of tickets that we opened with Superset Dev. So, that's one way that we are helping make it a little bit more secure. And we also look forward to working on some of these tickets ourselves. So just to contribute back. And then finally, again, thanks for the opportunity here, Superset community. I think we want to continue this engagement with you guys. Obviously we're active on Slack and other channels, but yeah, we're happy to come out and speak with other audiences as well, just to promote Superset and also talk about how we're using it at Veeva. So this is the last slide. I think, if you found our stuff interesting, we definitely want you guys to come and take a look at Veeva Nitro specifically. You will get to work on that perfect trifecta that you see on the top right, which is the latest big data cloud tech in this, ever-growing space of analytics, big data, and in this essential industry of healthcare life sciences. So it's a really good combination with those three. Another big point about Veeva, it's a work anywhere. So you can choose to be remote, you can choose to be hybrid, you can choose to come in the office every day, entirely up to you. So
we have offices in New York, Philly, San Francisco, several in Europe and in Asia.
Yeah. And
those on the call
now in Chicago. So
yeah.
Remotely. We can share my room. That's perfectly fine. Right now we're focused on engineering a little bit more. So these are some of the open recs that we have in our team directly. A couple of platform engineering positions, one data engineering position. But feel free to browse through our jobs portal, and feel free to get in touch with us directly as well for some of these positions. So that's all we had in terms of content. I think we went over by a few minutes, but we can have look at some of the questions that you might have.
Yeah, no, it's great. Nope, did not go over. I think we're good. We still got like about 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
we'll start going through some of the questions. So Jagdish asks, does Nitro Explorer work on mobile device for business users in view only mode?
So I could take that one.
Yeah.
So we've experienced that, or we've noticed that Superset isn't quite there yet for the mobile experience. So we haven't really pushed that use case. However, our business users who are on mobile devices use another application delivered from Veeva in which Nitro is embedded. So we actually use that. Nitesh mentioned it earlier, something called My Insights. That's actually not Superset based. That's our own reporting technology, kind of our own embedded reporting that's available in CRM. And that goes up to about kind of the VP level or so, or maybe one below that in terms of business user. And that is accessible on mobile devices. So it's not Nitro Explorer per se, it's something called My Insights. And that's what you see on all the mobile devices that people in commercial pharma might be using.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Very cool. Next question, Jeremy asks, can you tell us a little bit about your SSO authentication, auth and access control strategy employed in Nitro? Are you using dashboard RBAC?
Sure.
Yeah.
So Nitesh, you go ahead.
You can take that. I think you've designed that a lot more. So
this one is so currently we perform a single sign-on flow with Redshift. So we actually use Redshift as an IDP for really simplistic single sign-on. We know we need to improve that. So our plans involve something called Nitro Home, which is going to be a portal to Nitro applications, of which Nitro Explorer will be one of them. So you'll basically get an experience where you click on the Nitro Explorer tile, and then you'll single sign on with Nitro Home, and then you'll be automatically logged into Nitro Explorer through that means. So we'll set up some sort of OIDC or basic OAuth flow between Nitro Home and Explorer. So we have like one auth model between the two. And then our portal essentially will serve as the kind of anchor point for external customer IDP auth flows. So that's our name of the game, is like we have to work with a myriad of different IDP providers out there. So that's kind of like our challenge. And our thought right now is we're not going to put that on necessarily on the Superset side, because we don't know how to like switch out auth models yet. So we're just going to simplify it that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just to have your own abstraction that you can control.
And then within Superset,
you have to integrate with everyone. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to just add that within Superset, we've identified a few roles that we give while onboarding new users. So that's something that we've standardized. Like I said, we've created our own role, custom role as well, which has some of these, fine-grained permissions grouped as what we think is appropriate for a Nitro user. And then we also use some of these other roles like Gamma, Alpha to provision users as well. So
and we do use dashboard RBAC. So like that was a really nice feature that we enabled earlier this year, specifically for once the users get in, to give these business groups different, siloed access to reports and data. So super important for us, especially in enterprise, like security.
Yeah, and I know the Amit and some other folks from Nielsen Israel, they have a similar use case to you guys. They're showing customer dashboards. So they were like, hey, we really want this, and they helped make that happen. Cool. So 4 more minutes. I'll just crank through the last, 4 questions we have here. Quick question here. What version of Superset are you using?
The latest version, 1.3.
Sweet. That answers that. Nikhil asked 2 questions. We'll combine them, I suppose. How do you feel about having, users connect to the warehouse? Is it restrictive?
We feel quite good about it. So, I mean, honestly, like part of the Nitro story here is that we're a very open platform. So like, we love that users get access to everything in the stack. Like, we have some conceptual layers, which are a little bit, known, and they get access to everything. So we feel good about that. We do have, for regulations and validate, there's a lot of stuff in pharma, especially like sensitive data and stuff flowing around. So like we do have like tools to impose there, and we actually impose them at the data level, and not in Superset, because Superset you'll be restricted or not there. Yeah. So.
Very cool. Have you done any customization of Superset, or are you using it mostly out of the box?
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
Superset core, we've tried to not, customize that. In fact, we're trying to not fork it at this point, because once you fork it, the upgrade
Yeah.
story will not be as seamless. So we want to use it as is from the community. But like I said, like we discussed, we've developed a lot of packaging around that. So that's how we intend to keep it for as long as we can.
Got it. Nikhil asks, is there any suggestion for checking and learning the personas and authorization, like how to check in web or books in general? Not sure, Nikhil, what you're asking. If you want to ask it again, go for it. But we'll move on to the next question. Gaurav asks, does Nitro Explorer provide additional CLI features on top of Superset?
So I could take, so Nitro as a platform has a CLI interface. So we have, like this data API, we have all these things, these tooling around the platform that enables stuff. And we have a CLI app for that. But we don't currently deploy or leverage any CLI app for Superset specifically.
Yeah, makes total sense. We'll take two more questions. So Gaurav has a three-part question. How do you deal with, I'll kind of paraphrase this. So how do you kind of handle large data and slow loading of dashboards, especially when you're showing it to like VPs and stuff like that? So let's tackle that first question.
Yeah, so that's where what we've learned is your base SQL and the creation of data sets is really very important. So we try to filter, that's as a best practice, filter out as much data as possible, use projections. And especially if you're joining across multiple tables, we don't want to bring everything into Superset at the data set level. I think that's been a big learning. So if you can just try to use that best practice, don't get the data that you don't want to show on your dashboard. I think that's helped us a long way. And then in terms of showing the dashboards and reports themselves, again, if there's a lot of data coming in, the chances are very less that you have to look at all the columns and all the rows. So you're either going after specific columns or you're aggregating across rows. So we try to again build that into our reporting and charting as well. So it's not so much data coming back all the way to the dashboards and reports.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I will say there's a few more questions that I think we can roughly probably answer as you should consider doing things at your data stack database level. Like some things, just Superset's a BI tool, but you don't want to necessarily do all that load. The front end, it's harder to manage versus your data platform is going to scale much better. So we'll take one last kind of the question here from Gaurav. So Superset works like magic for time series data. What do you do about like distribution, ranking, other types of charts where, it's maybe more discrete? Categorical, like how do you what do you guys do there for non-time series heavy data visualization?
Yeah, so there's some new charts that have come up in the latest version of Superset, I would say, that help you with that. Beyond that, there's I think some of the stuff with the predictive analytics as well in Superset. We were trying to enable some of those use cases, not there yet. But I think as we go through with the new releases Superset, and Srini, you can probably talk about this a lot more. We are trying to enable a lot more new charts using e-charts, and that's where we would be able to tackle these use cases.
Awesome. Forgot to mute. Perfect. Well, we're at time. So thanks everyone for coming. Thanks again, Nitesh and Chatham, for the great presentation. We will send out the recording if people missed it or showed up late. And I hope everyone has a good rest of the day and rest of the week. Take it easy. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.